What is the story, everybody? This is Jonathan and Sean coming at you with yet another deck profile. But as always, before we get into it, please like, comment and subscribe. Help us get to 1k subscribers before the end of the year. It is now November. We've done very well, but we still want to do it. Also, Bonanza is out on the 8th, so that's only a few days away. Check the links in our description and use discount code ChainBlock5 for 5% off all your purchases at checkout. So, today we, as I said, have Sean with us. What are we profiling?
Today we're going to be doing probably my favorite new deck, which is Mimighoul. Yeah, a little spoiler there. This is like a really interesting control strategy that is super underrated. People really shit on it because it's got a weakness to your opponent playing Dominus Impulse at any point, which is fair. It does literally lose you the game on the spot.
Yeah.
But the tools this deck has are severely underrated because of that weakness. And a lot of decks right now actually are moving away from Dominus again because, again, you just want such a high hand trap count and the good ones are all locked up.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And I think also the fact that it has a unique strategy that's kind of really refreshing, and like you and like Rassi like it, two really good players, it's just kind of refreshing into the meta. Yeah.
It's partially that, and it's partially I think matchup inexperience helps a lot because again people aren't playing it, and yeah, it's just got a lot of tools that people really underrate the strength of. So I'll get into it here. So to start off, main guy. This is the quote unquote boss monster.
Yeah.
Mimighoul Master. A lot of lists are on 1. I would be on 1 if other lists weren't. But the thing is, you can very easily access this from deck, from hand, from graveyard. But once it gets banished, you can't get it back.
Yeah, that's fair.
So your aim with this, with playing the second, is just to always have one. Because it is such a big part of what lets you do stuff in your opponent's turn.
Yeah, it's a great card.
But yeah, 2. You wouldn't go above that. Anyways, for people who aren't aware, what it does is, when it's normal or specialed, you can add any Mimighoul monster, and then during your opponent's turn, you can flip a face-down monster on the field to face-up.
Yeah.
So triggers all your Mimighouls. It also can't be destroyed by battle or card effects if your opponent controls a face-down or if you have another Mimighoul.
Yeah, which is...
So it protects itself too.
That's going to happen a lot.
Yeah. So then in terms of the old wave of support, we're on 3 Dragon. This is the best one.
Yeah.
So this is a board wipe from your opponent's field, and if you summon it to your field, it gets you any Mimighoul spell trap, which is nuts.
Yeah,
all of them give you pretty insane advantage. Just in case people aren't aware how the deck plays, it is kind of like rogue adjacent or whatever. All of them share the effect that you summon them face down to your opponent's field, and then they do something negative to your opponent and then go to your control.
Yeah.
So your aim is to set up a few of them to gain advantage on your turn, and then set a few on your opponent's field going into their turn.
Yeah, it's one of them decks where like it's kind of niche, but if you don't have the out, you're probably going to lose.
The other thing is this is incredible for you first turn going second, because it's a really good out to a lot of boards once you've sort of chewed through some of the interaction.
Yeah, sure.
Secondly, we've got 3 Archfiend. So on your opponent's field, this will make you draw 1, and then make your opponent send a card from hand to grave, and then transfer control. On your field, you like on summon, you can flip a face down, face up.
Yeah.
So off Maker, a lot of the time you're doing these 2, and whichever one goes to your field, you're pretty happy with.
Fair.
And then the one of Cerberus, this guy, when he's summoned to your field, he just protects your spells from targeting.
It's really good.
Yeah, no, that's the main reason you play him actually, because he's probably the worst effect on your opponent's field, which is...
The spell is kind of crucial as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
It's good.
So he banishes the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and then specials one of the banished monsters to your field. Generally, it's the worst because it's like unreliable, but you want to have the extra name anyway.
Fair.
The spell protection is nice, and sometimes you can just steal like, you banish 2 spells in a Fenrir, and it's like, okay, great. So then that's the old ones. The new ones we got are Fairy, which we play at 3.
The ones are really good.
So all the new ones also let you special them to your field, because the other ones just have an effect when they go to your field. These ones special to your field if you have another Mimighoul. But they also still have the negative effects for your opponent. So this one, for the rest of the turn, they can't activate the effects of monsters they special summon from the hand.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
So this is a really, really nice floodgate, especially combined with the field spell, which I'll get to. And also it's just an extender. So it's easily probably the best one to just draw. We play 2 Slime. Again, can special itself.
Great card.
But this one, when it's flipped, lets you special a Mimighoul from deck to your field. So you get any of the your field effects. Very, very strong. You probably don't want to play 3 just because it's really bad in multiples.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the final one, the worst new one is Armor. He makes your Mimighouls unable to be destroyed by battle for the turn. Comes up very occasionally, but the main thing is he's just another name that's an extender.
Yeah, that's right.
You probably wouldn't even play him if he didn't special, but he does. So then this is the Heart and Soul. This is effectively your boss monster.
Yeah.
Is Mimighoul Dungeon.
It's such a good card.
So the ones that weren't any Mimighoul monsters you control that weren't special this turn gain attack equal to their defense. So that bumps Master up to 3. It bumps the Xyzs up really high. Basically makes them all like actually decent stat.
Yeah.
The other thing is any player who controls a face down monster can't normal summon.
Yeah.
Which is the big floodgate with Fairy. It makes it pretty hard.
Because playing against this deck, most of the time, the only way to like not go severely negative is to tribute someone like 2 of the sets in rare hands, but you have to out the field spell to do that.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying.
The other thing is just during your main phase, you can add a Mimighoul from deck or grave to hand, which is unbelievable.
Great.
So then obviously we're on the terraforming to get that. You want this as soon as you can every game.
Yeah. Fair.
Terraforming helps with that, but we do actually have another target. Then we're on 3 Maker. So you reveal 2 flip monsters with different names from your deck, and then randomly your opponent gets 1 face down and you get 1 to hand.
Yeah.
And then you can special any Mimighoul from hand. So you can summon the one you add or a different one.
It's a great card.
It's unbelievable. And then during your opponent's turn, if they special a monster, you can banish this from grave to flip a face down they control face up.
Cool.
So again, it's all ways to trigger the Mimighouls. And then finally, we've got 3 copies of Rune. I'm lending 1 out at the minute.
Yeah.
So this specials a Mimighoul from hand or deck to your field face up, or face down to your opponent's field, and then you can flip any face up monster on the field face down. So it's both engine access and an interruption, and then you can banish it from grave and return any number of Mimighouls you control to the hand, which is actually really good in the grind game, because basically you're flipping them, you're getting the negative effects, they go to your field, you use them, and then Room bounces them back to hand, you can reset them to your opponent's field. It's probably the like secondary effect that comes up the least on the spell traps, but this is basically full combo by itself. Like it's Book of Moon plus a special. So that's the Mimighoul engine. It's like the bulk of the deck. It is a pretty big engine, but it's a pretty competent control strategy in its own right.
You do get to mix some funny stuff with it.
You 100% do. So then, small secondary engine I'm on. We got the 1 Right South,
Everyone's favorite.
3 Kashtira Unicorn, and the 1 Birth.
Yup.
This helps kind of insulate you from hand traps to a small degree because you get the extra deck rip. It's multiple bodies.
Yeah.
It's just a very strong, compact engine that you get to play. And it really doesn't bother you at all.
And what goes hand in hand with cash?
So yeah, this is the other reason to play this deck. This is probably the only reason it's competing right now.
Yeah.
Is 3-dimension shifter. Doesn't hurt you, does hurt your opponent. Let's go. It's a real it's similar to Goaty where it's like this does hurt you a little bit, but it's so much more worth it because of how much it hurts your opponent. Then we've got a couple more hand traps. It's ones that you want to be able to use under shifter. So Ash and Imperm. And then,
what more can you say about
you're kind of tight on non-engine slots, but trust, you just want to maximize what you can do with them.
They're pretty good ones.
Exactly. And then final non-engine slots, 2 Thrust. I'll be getting my 3rd with Bonanza reprint. Remember, ChainBlock 5. 1 Talents to get off that if you aren't going for engine.
Yeah.
Because this gets your entire engine. It's Maker, it's Room, it's whatever. That's the other nice thing about using Thrust with this deck is not only do you always trigger it because these are your opponents activating the effects.
That's great.
So your Thrust and your Talents are always online with your engine.
Yeah.
But even going first, you have an in-engine target for Thrust. You can go Imperm or whatever to set, but Room, again, is pretty much full combo by itself, and you just set that to your field, and you're solid. And then last card, Angel Statue as a Rune. We know what it does.
If your opponent manages the summon fleet, you're not getting the second summon.
So that's the main deck. It's tight, does what it needs to. No complaints. The extra is where the quote unquote spice comes in. So we're on 2 Giant Mimighoul, This guy is unbelievable.
It's a great card.
So your non-Xyz Mimighouls can attack directly if your opponent has a face down. Just always.
That's great.
Then once per turn each, if it's Xyz summoned, you can add any Mimighoul card from deck to hand.
Yeah.
And then you can detach an Xyz from this card and target face-up cards on the field equal to the number of face-down monsters your opponent controls. Pop them, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage for each.
That's insane.
So it wins in time, it's removal, it searches engine, it goes up to 3/3 with a field spell. It's just unbelievably good.
You know a card's good when it just searches any of the archetype card.
Yep,
not
card.
Not monster.
And again, like, you need dungeon every single game.
Yeah,
so this
so
gets
there
your
you go.
dungeon, it gets anything else. Then the one throne, this basically, you go into it way less often, to be honest with you. But you detach a material from this, special Mimighoul Master from hand, deck, or graveyard. Again, you need to play 2 in case it gets banished. But then during the main phase quick effect, you can target a master you control, equip this to it, it gives it 1,000 attack, and then you can return cards from the field to the hand up to the number of materials this had.
Insane.
So again, removal, but this one's a quick effect, thank God. Then you have a couple of other slots for rank 1s.
Yeah.
I go Ensemble Blue Robin.
Ugh.
Generally just a really good thing to go into going first if you have extra bodies.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll draw like a really Mimighoul heavy hand, and you just have like 5 or 6 level 1s on your field.
Are they all level 1s bar master?
Yeah, every single one.
There you go.
So this, when your opponent specials a monster, once per turn you can detach a material and bounce it.
Insane.
So yeah, this plus your like in archetype like interactions generally makes it like 3 or 4 times as hard to break the board. Especially if you have the dungeon lockup, because they can't normal, so they have to special, and you can just keep bouncing. Then we've got the one Assembled Nightingale.
It's a great card.
Attacks directly, it's a Zeus machine. It's a Winged Beast as well, that'll come up. To go with that, we have the one Downard and the one Zeus. Board wipe, can't complain, you know.
Does this deck lock you into anything at any point?
At no point.
That's great.
Yep.
You love to see it.
And then the one of Typhon. In decks like this, especially like slower ones, if you have the slot for a Typhon, you should just be on it, because like especially going second, you're just chewing through these interactions, you're going back and forth. If you can stick just one monster to the field, turn it into this, bounce something important, and just go in, like you're doing well.
I think me and Cal said in our last deck profiles, there is just some decks that really struggle to out Typhon.
Like the 3k effect lock comes up more than you think.
Like pure Snake, I have to invest usually a lot to get rid of a Typhon.
Yeah, there's also a lot of decks, because it's not original attack.
Yeah.
Like for example, Fire King can boost a lot of their guys up, that kind of thing. It does come up. The one Relinquished Animate, they're all level 1s. This guy's broken.
Makes sense. Blink Reba.
IP Masquerena,
Great card.
good thing to go into. SP Little Knight,
Yep.
excellent thing to go into. Especially once you've used a giant. Like you'll pop a bunch of shit and then go into this, get the banish.
Yeah.
One Silhouette Rabbit.
For obvious reasons.
He's an interruption and a spell trap pop.
Great card.
Just really, really solid. To me, this is like the new Verte or Hulk or any of those Link 2s that you just go into when you have 2 guys left, and he just gets you an interaction.
Let's not mention Hulk. I'm still upset.
Then we've got 2 Link 3s.
Yeah.
I go Nightmare Unicorn, obviously synergizes great with Masquerena and the Link 4 we're playing.
Yeah.
And then one thing I'm testing out is Blackluster Soldier of Chaos.
You do play Cash.
So you have the cash monsters, which gives you the high levels. One thing this deck kind of isn't great at, like, and it's rarely an issue, but when it comes up you'll be glad to have this, is sometimes you just need a big guy that's hard to out. And Typhon also fills that role. It's just like, sometimes you just need a guy that they can't get rid of to keep pressure on between turns. Especially in the grind game against like other control decks. And then last card, Access Code.
Yeah.
You know, with the Link 3s,
You
with
make a lot of
everything.
monsters.
You get a bunch of pops, you kill them. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the side deck is pretty unorthodox, but trust me, it works, right? So we're on 3 Kashtira Fenrir and 1 Theosis.
Okay.
This will then give you the only lock in the deck, but it's an Xyz lock, and all of your big engine interactions are Xyz. This is phenomenal going second, as we all know.
And Cash Theosis is for the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
So you can summon Rabbit before that.
But yeah, also Theosis is searchable off the Unicorn. So you open Unicorn, you go into this, and then you already have 2 interactions before you even start doing Mimighoul plays. 3 evenly. Especially if they have to like negate a dragon or something, you can just go in battle phase, get rid of half the field.
In a world where Omni negates are hard to come by, if your opponent goes end the battle phase.
100%. Okay, so the other thing is this deck doesn't have a time win con going. Basically, if you can't stick the giant and pop things with it. So like it does require quite a lot of setup. So, and because it's a control strategy, like games are going long.
Yeah.
So game 2, game 3, you're siding in the sister, you're just getting a shit ton of life.
It's just better maxi, really.
Yep. Better. In fact, yeah.
Better, yeah.
Again, I wanted one other hand trap I could play that would still work under shifter.
Yeah.
So I went Ghost Mourner. This card's really underrated anyway, and also wins in time sometimes.
It does, sometimes.
But generally it's just like copies 4 and 5 of Imperm.
Yeah.
Then we got the one Duster.
It's a good card.
You know, you want to be able to out back row, especially because, like, for example, Dragon's only popping monsters, and also it's a thrust target.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 are also thrust targets. We got one D barrier.
It just wins games.
Wins games. And Harpy's Feather Storm. You make either of your 2 wing beasts.
Yeah.
And you set this off the thrust, and it's skill drain, but only for your opponent.
Yeah. Your opponent can play.
So that's the last card. The Cash Engine synergizes really well. The Mimighoul engine is super underrated in strength, and the extra is like pretty toolboxy. Like you can cut everything bar the Mimighoul cards if you want to and play something else. Yeah, no, that's really it.
But yeah, again, please like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more deck profiles. We're really good at doing them. The odd combo video. We are trying to get to 1K, and yeah, see you.
That's it.